If I ruled the world, I love them, baby.
If I Ruled the World podcast welcomes Mike Rubino to the show.
Hello, how are you?
Yo.
What's going on?
Mike Rubino, you may know from such bands as Tension, 1776, and of course your new band, a newish band with a new EP, Crime Pays.
Yes, there was also Pit Fight.
Pit Fight,
where
that's
Ken came
We're
from
running
Pit
over there.
Fight.
And there was you did a hip hop band too.
Kendo.
It was a friend of mine, a buddy from work. That
was
I was like backing up, but hype man, backup vocals, kind of just going on the road, playing shows.
Right.
Did a bunch of Public Enemy. Actually.
It was Kendo.
It was Kendo. Yeah.
I remember because I was in my head because I was telling George. I remember buying How to Sell Your Soul to People, like that Public Enemy record, which was fucking awesome. And I had the DVD and I put it in, and I fucking see this video. And I was like, I just saw Mike Rubino in a fucking DVD that came with my Public Enemy fucking CD.
It was cool. Actually, at that time, I hadn't done shows or played at shows in a while. Tension wasn't together at the time. It was we would go on because Chuck D from Public Enemy was, I guess, the manager.
Yeah,
they paid for the practice space and like videos that they shot that are on YouTube. But we were on like a piece like Public Enemy tour when they came back around, and there was general population was Damian Burns was DJing before we were on the road and playing shows. Like, yo, what's up? What are you doing here? Like two hardcore dudes like at a hip hop show. It was cool though. Had a good time. But
especially him. I mean, he still makes really cool videos.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
It was like Chuck's cousin was the guy and the rapper and the general population, I guess, or something.
And what was the connection though? Like, how did Ken meet?
When he was in a rap group called Hyenas in the Desert back in the day when Public Enemy was doing their thing, and I guess they were signed to Slam Jams, which is, I guess, Chuck's division of Def Jam or something like that, or was. I'm not really sure the details, but but I don't know. I met my buddy Ken at work. It was like, told him I was at the hardcore. I played him some of the stuff we were doing. He's like, yo, shit is cool, and come check this out. And went to the studio and just hung out, had a great time. Actually, I brought my brother to the studio one time to do like some bass notes, and it was like, the way rap is different. He just strummed two or three notes, and they're like, "Oh, that's great, it's perfect." You know what I'm saying? And they looped it.
It is.
And he was like, "That's all. That's all you wanted." You know what I'm saying? He's like, "It was just like three notes." He played doom 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 doom. Like, play something like this.
Yeah.
And it was doom doom doom, and then they're like, "Oh, that's awesome. We love it. It's great." Yeah. I was like, "That's it. You're done."
It is the beauty of hip hop. You just loop that thing.
Yep.
And it's all about that bass.
I know.
It was actually. It was at the Head Spinners studio, which was the guys from Young Black Teenagers.
Oh, shit.
Tap the bottle in, twist the
it.
cap. It was pretty cool. Had a good time.
Yeah.
There's actually a couple of videos they shot that like we would just be like hanging out. Like, oh, Chuck sent us like video people to film a video, and like we took them to the graffiti spot in Middle Island.
That's what it was,
Yeah, and the graffiti had a breakdancer dude, and people just hanging out.
Awesome.
And then there was another one. We were at the Lyric studio. He sent the video guy, and they just shot a video, and there was just all the heads that were in the Lyric studio.
Yeah.
Just like making cool videos out of nothing,
Yeah.
And even back then, for sure. I'm sure now, like, technology's the best now. Like, you could really fuck around with iMovie. Like, everything's so DIY now.
Yep, exactly. That's even with the recording, too, like the phone and the GarageBand even, like, which is how, like, the awesome writing tool, even that's awesome, Like,
yeah, GarageBand, for sure.
I'm not, technologically inclined, but I've been trying to learn how to use the GarageBand for just using it as a writing tool, sending music back and forth and just sing vocal. That's how we did the Crime Pays songs, actually, with that. And
so he would just send you...
He would send me the music from GarageBand, and then I would, write shit and, just yell into the phone, or even go to his house and, we would just yell into the phone, and he'd mix it very, like, unbelievably well, it's just an awesome writing tool,
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because in my estimation, you took a bit of a break. There was some Tension reunions, but you weren't in a proper band for a while, and then Crime Pays happened. So talk about how that the impetus of that of creating that band and why now.
Well, it's like kind of everybody grow up, kids, work, job, business. Becomes shows aren't going as much, or
Yeah.
you know, just other things take priority. And it's like we never broke up, but there would always go through periods where, for whatever reason, maybe somebody couldn't do it, something was going on, and then we just wouldn't play for years. But there would always be like, not like a reunion, but we hadn't played in 2, 3, 4 years. All of a sudden, like, we're feeling it. Let's do a show. Or somebody offers us to play. Like, go play with this band or play with that band, and like, can we do it? Let's do it. It's kind of like whenever we want, still even now. But with the Crime Pays thing. I don't know, we just hadn't been jamming, kids are getting a little older, a little more free time, actually like being, I find a lot more time lately to be able to practice once a week and write songs or even just do a show every now and then. And honestly, it's just for the love of the hardcore music and the style and how we grew up and like, wanting that to be there for our kids too. And, we bring up our kids like, oh, this is what we did when we were kids. And it's really cool, and especially in a world now where like almost to every other style of music is just assault on the children, just total, mind control and brainwashing to be, ignorant and just low life in every way possible. So it's like, hardcore, which society would view as like maybe, unsightly type people and sounds, but the message is better than anything else out there, even any Disney kids music, so
right,
horrible. But
you were super close with like the Gutterlift guys, too.
Yeah.
So, and I think Matt was the bass player of that. No, what was the?
Well, the singer of Gutter Life I met outside the Compound studio, and I introduced him to the guys from Lockdown, and that was his first band, playing bass for Lockdown.
Okay.
And I guess he was in a bunch of other bands and did Gutter Life, and that's how I met the other Matt, who does guitaring for Crime Pays. And I guess Gutter Life stopped playing, so Matt was just, I guess, writing music on the GarageBand. Sent me some music, I dug it, wrote back, and then just like, forget about, hey, just kind of like, it just, Matt did a lot of putting it together, but it really came together in a lot of ways. So it's like, it's pretty easy to do. So
yeah, that's what you want. Like,
exactly. It's
as
not,
you get older.
Yeah, exactly. Because it can only be, it can only exist where it does, it's like,
right.
And that's just having a good time, writing music, having fun, playing shows, and being able to hang out with friends that you don't get to see often unless it's a wake or something like that.
Yeah, and how do you find doing it now?
Family,
like,
friends.
You basically, for hardcore is known as a younger man's game to some degree for years, and you did it when you were younger. You did it as you got older. And although you still look young and you sound better than ever, like, how does it feel? You've done a couple shows with Crime Pays.
Yeah.
Doing a new band at this age, playing shows.
Feels good. Feels great, because honestly, it's like, sign me up for that Peter Pan plan because,
I'm on it.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, for real.
It.
Like, look at the things they tell you when you're a kid that, like, you're supposed to do. You grow up to be, aspire to be what you're supposed to be, the pillars of our society, like an astronaut, a lawyer, a doctor, a policeman, like, with the right focus, you look at those professions, which are supposed to be the pillars of our society, are actually at times the worst, of things like, just the way it is with the drugs and the money and addiction and the law and the paying fines and penalties and all that good stuff. But, I don't know.
At the end of the day, I mean, like, you have your business, which is key. And then from there, you could do your passion. Before then, what was the last thing that you remember writing or like being a part of the creative process? Was it Pit Fight?
Before was
Crime Pays.
Was, I think, the last Tension album, which was The End of All We Know.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a couple of songs that we wrote. There's a couple of old songs,
So it's, I mean, because it's a muscle. I mean, all three of us sing, and we sing over shit.
Yep.
Do you, like, as soon as you hear that music, like, you just fucking get that energy again? Like, I'm just wondering what your process is, because you never lose a step from everything.
I'm sorry.
Everything that I said you. Oh, did I cut out?
No. I was just, because you said that to me the other day. You go, Mike never had a bad vocal day in his life.
I've never heard you sing.
Wow, so I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, I've never heard you sing. So, like, what is it? What was the process like when Matt sends you the music? Like, is it a muscle that you need to flex, basically?
Well, first of all, in my head, every day is a bad vocal day. I'm fine with that. But
at least it's consistent.
No, it's but different. It's like any other muscle for me. That, like, with time off, like years, I don't do anything, and then there's a new band. Like the practice builds up the vocal stamina and just the strength and the length and the amount of time that your voice stays strong for. And for me, normally it's like, oh, I haven't played in 2 years. You know, it's especially a little different for Tension because we'll do a Tension show we haven't played in 2 years and we'll practice twice.
Right.
So it's like I'll feel like, oh man, I wasn't happy with my performance. Like if I had more practices, I would have been better. But I'm sure or whatever. Sometimes it's fine, but really doesn't matter any. But you know. But
yeah.
But so after, let's say, you know, practice break down, and then 2 or 3, 4, it builds up, and then with every practice gets stronger. So, you know,
it's a muscle.
Yeah, exactly, like any other muscle.
So is songwriting. So is lyrics. You know, once you get back into a mode, if you've been doing it for a long time and you stop, you know, hopefully you can get back to that muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like you said, the muscle memory. It always, you know, comes back, and then after a good couple of practices, then don't break down anymore, and it sounds strong, it's solid. You have the wind and the breath control, and you know, at the same time, like when you have songs that you know well and you've practiced a lot, and you have like a good strength and presence and feeling about your sound, but then you write a new song, that's it. For me, at least, that song is like harder to do, because it's just you haven't done that song that way that many times. So, you know,
just you know, curiosity to bring it all the way to the beginning, because you've never done a podcast, you know, definitely. So this is fun because we could ask you, as a kid, like what made you gravitate towards music? Was it Joe?
Definitely a lot to do with Joe, obviously, you know, older brother, you know, watching him. But either way, when Tension originally started, it was, I guess it was like 6th grade, junior high school. I was in like a party, like it was like a little skinhead band. We played parties, cover songs like Sheer Terror, Agnostic Front, and we would play with Miles Porter was the drummer. No, he was the guitarist. Miles Porter was the guitarist, and his older brother was Demian Porter from Sanguinary Carnage. So we would play like death metal party over at Miles's house, or just around whatever the backyard or in the bedroom. And that band, actually, my brother and John Cox and Dave Musser and Mike Westerland had a band that was called False Pride when they were in high school. So they would play parties, same thing, backyards, in the garage. Maybe they played like a show or two, and like a VFW hall in Eastport, I think I remember. But then their singer, Mike Westland, went to the Navy, so they stopped playing. And the little shit band that we had, the drummer moved to Arizona, so we stopped playing. But then Mike Westland came back for like a naval leave, and they did like a practice. Like, oh, I just went, little brother, hang out, watch the practice, and they did their songs that they played, and then they started just messing around, and they played like Sheer Terror song, and I just grabbed the mic and started singing. So they were like, afterward, you know, they played a couple songs, a couple cover songs. They were like, oh, you know, we sound good, you know, we should continue to play together. You know, Mike was going back to the Navy, and I was like, oh, it's cool, you know. Actually, the name Tension came from when I was in the band with the younger kids in junior high school. I went to a False Pride practice with my brother and John Cox and Dave, and after the practice I was like, oh guys, help me think of a name for my band. And everyone was shooting out names, and John Cox was like, Tension's a cool name. And then they were shooting out names, and I was like, oh, I like that, that's cool. He's like, you mind if I use that? And he was like, oh, I didn't even really think it was that cool.
That's great.
But then after we decided to play together, on the way home from that practice at Dave's house in Eastport, John Cox was like, we were like, oh, we should play together. And John Cox, you mind if we use the name Tension? I was like, oh, you thought of it. So, you know, that's cool. We didn't really, it's like we were just a little shit backyard band that played a couple parties, you know, but.
John was always good with words. He helped a little bit in Earthling Massive, some lyrics and ideas and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. He was always good like that.
Yeah, definitely.
What was, because I don't know, but I'm sure George could answer this too. Like, what was the scene like when you guys first started out there in like the Shirley Mastic area?
Well, it was like the Shirley Skins was like the group of Shirley people, like Joe Garces, Mike Garces, Neil Belange, Chris Farber, just a couple of James Munoz. I guess they would go to shows in the city and wherever else, and there was parties. it was different groups. There was the Shirley Skins, and then there was like Doc and Kyle, the SUP guys that were like from Middle Island, beginning of the end at the lake over here in Middle Island, and then there was like the Brentwood guys, BSIs from BSI, like those guys from over there, and then there was like the DPSI guys, which is like Ronnie and Sal, and then with the BSI guys and Ronnie and a couple guys with the DPSI guys. It was like different little groups that would go to like the Roxy, or they would go to Sundance, and they would go, but then I guess we played a party with Tension, and we were Shirley Skins, and like no one was really, it was all different separate groups. We played a party with the beginning of the end guys with Tension, and then those two groups came together, Kyle, Doc, my brother, those Joe Garcia, those groups kind of conglomerated together, and then like playing Roxy shows with even like Mind Over Matter and Neglect and VOD. Then we met those other groups, and then kind of the groups started to, Long Island guys started to bond together, and then I guess it became a lot better. It was a little different back then. A lot of fights and just stupid stuff. People come in and just want to punch people on the side of the pit, and muscle heads that really don't know what it's about, but just want to just throw punches or something like that.
Yeah, if you don't know what it's about and you go in that pit and somebody hits you, you're gonna be like, I don't like this.
But I remember that too back then. Like it was more like when we first met you guys. It was just like, those guys from Mastic, Shirley. It just felt like a whole different world of people. Like, they're into hardcore too. Tension, and because they were like Joe. I knew Joe Garces forever, but I didn't know like a whole group of people. And it was prior to like the bands. I knew him just from shows at Sundance. But then once bands started happening, like Mind Over Matter and Tension, and then we all were able to play shows with each other, Trip Face, and there's just all different groups, and then PWAC kind of like bands could all play in one place from different groups. It's like, where are you from? You're from Cutchogue? You're from Riverhead? Like I thought we were the most east. We were from Lindenhurst. I thought we were the most Suffolk. No. Keep going. Keep going. East and south, you know. And it was like, them meeting you guys, it was like, these guys are awesome. They're Rubinos.
Yeah, it was always the younger brother. I was like 14, 15, know the older guys, you guys, look up to you guys, and go to shows in the city. And
like vocally, like, so did you ever want to play drums, guitar, or anything like that? You just always wanted to sing? No,
I kind of like would have wanted to. I think like John Cox gave me a couple guitar lessons. I could play just one song, like Friends Like You by Sick of It All, just really shitty, Like, I could do one drum beat.
You know what?
I could do that beat.
I could do that beat too.
That's it.
So vocally, like, what were some of the dudes that you liked, like growing up, that you were just like, I liked?
Always, like the Sick of It All, Agnostic Front, Murphy's Law, Sheer Terror, all those bands, Carnivore. Those are all the style. Sheer Terror a lot,
I think, because I could hear the Paul Bearer like influence for sure.
Yeah.
He definitely has that.
Yeah.
And I think there was at the time too, there was so many bands trying to be weird and do weird things and be like post-hardcore or noisy. And Tension came in like, nope, we're doing hardcore and doing it well. Yeah. And that's what you guys did. Like I could picture you from that darker corner of hardcore, like a Carnivore, Sheer Terror, and stuff like that.
Yep.
We're at Tim's house. How'd you meet Tim?
How did I meet Tim? High school, actually. I got a good story about how I met Tim.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks again, Tim, for letting us do it here.
So, in high school, I guess like I was supposed to be getting suspended. For what was supposed to be like, you get different detentions and you get suspension. But I remember before I met Tim, I came out of my classroom and he had the folder like where they normally pull you out of your classroom and say like, here's the paper, sign it. You got to be suspended or you get detention or whatever. And then he handed me the folder and I thought I was thinking like, Tim's doing work for the office, like, really. It turned out, but he was in trouble in the office, and he went through one of the drawers when they left him in the room and pulled out my whole file of all like the trouble that I was in, and a couple of kids he did, and he handed it to me. So then I guess I wasn't in trouble anymore.
You made it disappear.
Cool. Yeah, he did. So
Guy's been a friend ever since.
Yeah, and then it was just started doing those hardcore shows, and all the local guys like going to play, like I said, playing parties around here and the lake, hanging out at the lake over there, and the bus yard. The bus yard is a lot of towns would get together to hang out after shows at the bus yard over here.
Yeah,
which is a lot of unifying of different groups from different neighborhoods.
Yeah, and I think what's cool about when you're ready to do a new band, over the years, or your tension's ready to do some type of reunion show, people always want to come. People are always interested in what you do, and part of that is not just for the music that you did, it's the singer that you are. Like you the type of frontman you are isn't common. There's singers and there's frontmen, and what you've done in between the songs sometimes is the most important part of the set. I've noticed, it really is the glue that holds it together sometimes. And I'm curious how that came out, because I remember seeing you. It just seemed like you were always that way. But I don't really know. Like when you first started singing, when you first playing your live shows, did it take time to develop that, or were you kind of like right out the box you felt comfortable to start talking and being a front man?
I think it's not so much as a comfort, and it's more that like I just go up there and black out and like talk shit and just try to have a good time. Like a lot of times, like I don't even like I'm like talking shit, just killing time, blabbering away. Like sometimes there's something I say. I want to say something, but a lot of times I don't even really remember what until after. And like I said, if I do watch like a video of a show, a lot of times it'd be like,
"Oh yeah,
I said that. I don't remember saying it.
Yeah,
I don't remember saying it."
It is crazy too, because now you can look at the old shows. Like Doc recorded so many of them, so you can go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Like you ever do that and just like watch and remember? Reminisce a little.
I definitely have. But it's like it's good to watch the old stuff, because then it's like so crazy to think about. Like wow, like it just everybody looks so young. And that the best thing about the olden days, what we would have is like Doc and Mac 516 would film the interactions between the bands and just hanging out back at the Roxy, and hanging out at the bus yard, and just like the Mac 516 tapes, and like just the little videos of us like maybe going to a show in another state on the ferry, and like people hanging out, like those are like the best ones to watch.
Have your kids watched them yet?
The kids? Yeah, like my daughter has been to the Mac Memorial Show. She was like pretty young, like it was a couple of years ago, but now she's 11, and I actually brought her to an Ice Cold Killers show. That was an all ages show, and she really wasn't into it. I thought she was like, she was kind of. I actually like honestly like no. Well, to be honest, like I went to because there's a song I do with the Ice Cold Killers, and I like. It was at 89 North, and I got up on the stage to do the song, and then I jumped down, and after, she's like, "Why did you do it that way?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, why did you throw the mic stand down like that? And like, why were you jumping around like that? I was like, I don't know, punk rock.
Yeah.
And she was like, no one else was jumping around that way.
Oh man, like, kids are brutal, man. Kids are brutal.
I have to come to the realization that it doesn't matter how cool you think you might be, your kids are gonna think that you're not cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah, there's got to be a sense of like, I can't wait for her to see me do this, and then she sees you do it, and she's like, no.
Yeah.
But really, I think it's just she's at an age like preteen that it's just like she's gonna like what she likes. But I definitely feel like it's in her blood, and that she's gonna come back around, full tilt, and embrace her heritage of hardcore and love it just the same.
I think so. It happens for sure. Like even like me growing up, like if you hear like classic rock, like growing up. And I hated it. I'm like, I'm not listening to this because I felt it was like my parents' music. But then when you get older, you're like, I was pretty good. And you go back and you're like, this was actually pretty good. But like you said, like just it is a heritage almost, like what you guys done. Even like what Tom's band, what was Tom's band?
Capgun.
Yeah. So you guys, a lot of music in that house. And your dad too, right?
Yeah. My dad played bass and sang for a band called Titanic, which was like similar kind of local big band that played shows and parties and just rocked out, like kind of Black Sabbath, Cream, Vanilla Fudge style stuff.
Shit. The good stuff.
So exactly. So there's actually a picture.
Dad was probably supportive.
Well, there's actually a picture my brother has at the barbershop. I'm pretty sure it's still there, of my pops with the long hair, looking ultra Asian, like just singing into the mic, playing his bass, and there's a caption under it that goes from like a local like little like paper or something like that, like the Penny Saver or something. I don't know. It said Joe Rubino from Titanic really feeling his music.
Oh man!
But it's a
That's
cool
awesome.
picture. It's
That's
definitely
awesome.
a cool picture.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering too, as we're like sort of jumping around a little bit, but we covered, how you got into a band, playing Intention, playing with your brother, and then you guys played for a while, and then there was a point that you guys did sort of like a breakup. It's over.
Yeah.
Before the reunions and different variations. What was the reason for the first breakup?
Trying to think. Honestly, I don't remember because it was so
You could just
long
make
ago.
something up.
Yeah. Well,
Make it juicy.
You have anything
maybe
on
Tim?
why?
the first
Yeah.
breakup. I think was it when John left the band and started Earthling is what it is. So that's the first time we broke up. John Cox left the band and started Earthling. I think.
Oh,
is what
see,
it
I didn't
is.
know.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's not
just
my
that's
fault.
the
Who was in
He started Earthling.
We
I
were
wasn't
so
in
mad
it
at you,
first.
George. We like he stole our guitarist. Like
Hey, you know.
Earthling, fuck Earthling.
Yo, no, now
Goddamn
I
George
remember.
Reynolds stole
Joe
our
Rubino was
fucking
mad.
guitarist.
That's right.
Was he?
He was
he
mad.
really out of
Like he wasn't mad at me. Like, what did you do?
For
But
sure.
John was getting more into like electronic music and wanted to do that. So we
Yeah.
started that like with Jungle, with Jay Booty, and
You know what-
that was like a whole. He didn't want to do.
You know what it
Hardcore.
was? It was the raver days. So, like
Everybody
the
lost their
raving
minds a
came
little
in
bit.
really hard, took a lot of people's souls for a little while, and
It hit hard.
Some
It
of
did
them,
hit hard.
it did. Raving
did
hit hard.
It's
Not,
the C and K.
I
And in all
I
fairness,
never wore the UFOs. So
Yeah, I was
don't
gonna
really-
say, in all
I don't
fairness-
like electronic music.
Yeah, neither. I hated it. I would listen to it, and I liked it for the drugs because that's what I liked back
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Drugs and girls. What do you-
Yeah, that's what exactly. The music was like not. It didn't even matter. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, okay, whatever.
Of
I liked
course,
drum
yeah.
and bass.
Yeah.
That was good. But Ecstasy Days, when that hit, that was fun. And then when K came in, that wasn't any fun anymore. You'd go to parties and you'd be like, "Oh, this sucks."
Yeah,
Yeah,
people will be in a K hole.
yeah. It wasn't so social. And then I know you guys. Well, you did some reunions after that, and so how far after that? Then I guess was it? It was Pit Fight next.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like the first Tension breakup, and then I was doing the Almost Famous. It was like during that first breakup.
Yeah.
Like we did a lot of like good rap shows like Tribe Called Quest,
Oh.
Black Alicious, Dilated Peoples. I actually ran into Christian McKnight at a show because he was booking whatever Public Enemy show
I
it was
was
that
there.
we were playing.
It was
and
in the
I was
city.
surprised to see him, just like I was surprised to see Dane, like another hardcore guy
Yeah.
at the rap show. Because
It was Public Enemy, Dilated Peoples, and Black Licious show.
and Almost Famous. We opened up with the.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And
pretty
I
sure.
hope
Yeah, we
I
played that.
fucking-
Yeah, we
yo,
played that show.
man,
It was
we
we
were-
did
it
a
was-
couple songs. I think it was. I don't know if we. I don't really remember. We did a couple songs with Public Enemy set something like that, or I think we did a couple songs. But I don't really remember the details.
Yeah, and that was like the WWF venue.
That was the WWF restaurant.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that was the one.
Yeah.
That was
That's
the one.
It's
Yeah,
BB
yeah.
King's now, I think.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
did you at any point, like I know that you were doing, like the hip hop thing? Did you ever actually want to just transition into full MC?
It's not like I ever wanted to. I just, I mean, I don't. It's not. I don't really think about it. It's
Yeah.
kind of like rap's cool. But
Yeah.
I don't really think see myself as a rapper though.
Well, that's how I
Yeah,
feel. Like
yeah.
like what I play, which is
Yeah.
a pretty jangly indie rock.
Right.
But like, I'll listen to thrash. I'll listen to like a lot of hip hop and stuff. And people are like, oh, why don't you, play metal or something? I'm like, because
It's not what I want to play.
it's not
Yeah,
what.
it's just-
Yeah.
Well, not
I
that nobody
do.
wants to hear. I just, I don't really feel like, the urge to.
It's fun to just be a part of it. Like you're there. Like you're fucking just hanging out anyway. You're doing the hype. You said you were the hype man, right?
Yeah, yep. It was
Yeah.
like backup vocals,
Yeah,
hype
so-
man.
so
It's just
at that-
exactly, yeah.
At that point, you're there anyway, and you get to like dance
having it.
around both worlds,
Exactly.
which is great.
Yeah, and they like that the hardcore edge that was the difference in the styles of everybody that was playing in that project.
Yeah, because I've seen you do it. I remember you played. It was was it Ancient Tongue. It was like a small place.
I remember that. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
like a
and
bar,
and it's
yeah.
like there's a thing about hip hop, and MCs. There's a certain excitement level, and Mike gets on on his part, and it's just like boom, like
It
across
rocks like
the
a
room.
hardcore show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
For sure, it's
But
like
that's
no,
yeah,
go ahead. I
sorry.
was gonna say it's like when you watch like Ron Grimaldi grab the mic.
Yeah,
you know,
there
you're
you
like,
go.
oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like a few years after that, I think you went to Pit Fight,
Yeah, it was
which
Pit Fight,
I
yeah.
love Matt LaFemina. I think
Yeah.
Matt LaFemina, super talented guitar
Yeah,
player.
too.
very, very into a lot of different stuff. When we first started talking, he was like, my favorite band is Weezer and Jimmy Eat World. But if you talk to him and you see where he comes from, you would never know that. But he would like send me so much music, man. And so how did you end up hooking up with those guys?
Well, actually, no, I forgot really what it was before that. There was like a little band called Push that we did, and it was Paul Mataloni that started with, I think it was Jay Kramer.
Oh, wow.
And
Jay,
me. It was
right.
Paul Mataloni. It was Push. Yeah, we played a couple shows. I think we played at the Village Pub at Port Jeff. And then Paul left. Actually, I think we brought in Ken. No, we brought in, was it Matt? No, I think we brought in Matt. And then Paul left. So Matt, we ended up bringing in, was in Justice Unknown, brought in Joe, the drummer of Justice Unknown, and Ken, who was in Justice Unknown. And it became Pit Fight. Or I think it was like, yeah, it was Brutal Competitor or Pit Fight, but then it was Pit Fight. So
yeah. We actually played a house party. Remember the house party in Queens? It was like our band. It was like Playing Dead and Pit Fight.
Yeah,
but it was at Brian's house.
I remember that. Yes,
yeah, it was like
yes,
just
yep,
bugged out.
yeah.
We played in their backyard.
I wonder sometimes, like I could probably put a thread together, but could you put a thread together of like an underlying lyrical thing that you do?
What do you mean? So,
Like, I guess it would be hard to make an arc, but I see a lot of the stuff you write about is very like anti-authoritarian and very like, you know, there's some political stuff in there. But do you have like, you know, the way you approach lyrics, like what it's all about for you?
just trying to get by in a pre-apocalyptic society, you know? Rise above all the traps and pitfalls set before you, you know?
Yeah.
You never get like writer's block or anything? 'Cause I know, like I do. I used to. You probably no, not you.
Because I don't write anymore.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you did. When
No,
you know,
years ago,
Your
yeah.
active years.
Yeah, years ago. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, it's like it's something. I guess I feel like it's more like it's either there or it's not. You know, like sometimes, like you know, I guess you got to be really because sit down, put in whatever. Honestly, a lot of times it's like you know, if I'm writing, I'll be working and I have the music playing on the earphones, just
Yeah.
repeating a lot, and then trying different ideas and things like that. And then it was with the pocket notebook. You
Yeah.
know, so you know,
Pieces of paper everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, now you got the phone for sure.
I don't. I should. I can't. I don't even
Oh, really?
know.
Yeah, just type
I
it
just,
in like the notes, because sometimes you have like you know you write your verse and you write your chorus, and then here you go.
Always, yeah.
And then you got the you're like, oh, I got to write a second verse now. You know?
Yeah.
And what I find for me is if I don't write that second verse right away, like it needs to be cohesive. Like you
You'll
can't write
never
it in
remember
like
it.
two.
I'll be like, that's awesome. I'll remember it. And then
Yeah.
that's it. It's gone. Never
Yeah.
going to remember it. You have to write it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, because that's there's even still with the notebook. There's things that like be in my head, and I'll be like, oh, I gotta write that down. And then I just, you know, my mind changes tracks so quickly that, and I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't write it down, and I forgot it. Whatever.
What we talking
Yeah.
about, like on the new record, we were talking just on Saturday, where I guess we we went in unprepared. I remember we had that discussion, like
Yeah.
where you didn't like. There are times where I'm like, I'll fucking write it in the studio if I need like 2 lines or whatever, and it just doesn't come out the same because you're not used to like you haven't worked it out in practice.
Yeah.
And it's like, but now I'm just like, I have to write it down when I go in there because I've been burned where I go into the studio and I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll just remember it. And then like if the syllable changes a little bit, it just like, man, there's times I won't go into the songs because I won't blow myself up, but where I wish I could do certain lines over because I had just written it and I should have just sang it a little bit better. But
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Every once in a while, there's like a magic moment or two. But if you do if you just try and make up a bunch of stuff like that, it's often like, yeah, I wish I could have done that better or
Yeah.
over again or something.
But
Yeah.
it's just sometimes life happens, and like since we're not like we're like you know we're not musicians for a living, so we're not like living in it. It's usually like I'm rushing home from work, and it's like
Yeah.
then I got to go to the studio, and it's I got to do this, and it's like that. So you know,
It's
you get
probably
it.
the 90% of musicians. You know, pretty
Yeah.
much. You know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, in my opinion, you got to understand you're doing music because you love it, not because you think you're gonna get some sort of recognition or fame or
Yeah.
you know money from it. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, fuck money anyway. It's just a paper talisman. It's worthless, and I feel like it's gonna be worthless to everybody soon. You know what I'm saying? Really soon.
Maybe
Yeah.
by tomorrow.
So really, exactly by tomorrow, you know, like we're you know on the you know on the the verge of quarantine and martial law over here, you know. So if it's like we're looking back at this tape, you know, maybe they find it in the dust and the ashes of fucking buildings that have been destroyed or whatever. But you know,
yeah. I mean, talk about that a little. I mean, as long as I've known you, as long as most of us have known you, you've always had, you know, a strong sense of what's going on, you know, from your own perspective. And being that we're like in the middle of something major, I'm sure you have thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, it's a little crazy because honestly, like there's a lot of people that for so long have been saying that these exact things are going to happen and in this order, but you know, people are just so like brainwashed and zombified that like nobody thinks or cares to even err to the side of caution. But really the thing is, no one knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Because even the people that think they know what's going on have been fed so much lies and misinformation, you know, false story and report and false data about this and that. But you know, in reality, you know, it's God knows what's going on, and like I have faith that in the end everything will be okay, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. You know, we've like the state has perfected their brainwashing and mind control tactics, and everybody has been getting assaulted by all of it for even before our parents. You know, this is a culmination of a lot of evil, and you know, the people. I don't know, it's come to the point where the people, you know, it's kind of like people are manifesting their own destiny in a bad way because of all of the media that's perpetuated upon them and assaulting their brains for control of their soul. So,
yeah,
I mean,
pretty interesting way to put it for sure.
Yeah.
Manifesting their own destiny just because, yeah.
It's kind of like, and honestly, the biggest offenders of that are Walt Disney, because then the people are told the predictive programming story, and then when they see it developing before their eyes, they still can't believe it because it's like that was a movie, and it's kind of like the movie, in my opinion, kind of like in a larger way, more than we realize that like the movie Tomorrowland, they were just broadcasting horrible images in a horrible future to all the people through the antenna, you know, the TV, and all the people were subconsciously manifesting the worst destiny for themselves just because of the signal, the great signal, the TV, the box that we all worship that's actually watching us back, you know, and the refrigerator, and you know, everything we say, do. Everything we say, everything we do, and everywhere we go is known at all times by, honestly, in my opinion, you know, interdimensional demons.
We just jumped to a whole other dimension.
We just jumped to a whole new other podcast.
Sorry, just joking.
Are any of these lyrical content on the new Crime Pays? You guys just made a record or like an EP? How many songs?
5 songs.
That's a good amount these days, man.
Yeah,
it's perfect. It's you get in and out, and you give them a taste, and then from there, like, you know, I think now the more songs more frequently, like, you know what I'm saying, like five every 6 months. I just feel like people could adjust to that.
Yeah, because if they know 3 songs, then they know more than half your record.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. You know, you hit them with that, so. Like, or is that some like the lyrical content that was there? I know "Divide and Conquer" was like the first single.
No, I don't really. It's just kind of like whatever comes to mind. "Divide and Conquer" was the first single. It's about, you know, self-explanatory.
Sure.
There's "Vaccination Holocaust," which is about, you know, what's actually going on in a larger scale with the whole coronavirus thing. In my opinion, is the whole fear and scare tactics to impose forced vaccinations, because they have, in a lot of ways, like I said, we're being bombarded by the chemical compound in a lot of ways, like, which is the aluminum for our pineal glands, the fluoride for our pineal glands, and the aluminum in the chemtrails, and the Wi-Fi and the 5G that they're about to turn on. You know, I think they all work together to really zombify us and mind control on a greater scale, but
just to get you to accept
everything. I really don't, you know, nobody knows anything.
Are you optimistic for the future?
Not really.
That's a no if I've ever seen
Yeah,
one.
that's a no. Yeah, because I know you have kids, so I just
Yeah.
wonder like how that
Yeah.
Yeah, you have like, a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about tonight is you as a front man, what you say in between songs, the lyrics that you put together. We talked about, Pit Fight 1776, and you just dropped some stuff on us. As a young man, you have like the kind of like all of this stuff that you can put together and say and say and say. You get older, you have a job, and now you have kids. Like, how is it? How do you square that like all together when you have to try and think of like what to do as far as like work and dealing with kids? It's got to be a bit of a like a challenge sometimes.
I think everyday life is a challenge for everybody, and you got to try to do what you love. And of course, like, it doesn't look good, but you always got to think positive and always got to go against the insurmountable odds. And it's like, it's ready to go in full force and die fighting than to just let it run you over. Because a lot of people's mentalities nowadays, like, what can you do about it? Like, I realize there's a lot wrong, but what can you do about it? So they go in full force and eat McDonald's and drink soda.
Right,
They know it's not good for them and they know it's seriously damaging them. But at the same time, I'd always rather fight against and fight against things I disagree with, or fight for things that I believe in, try to spread a positive word. And that's really what the band, has always been about, like trying to survive in the apocalypse.
But it's about staying informed. It's an easy way, probably the easiest thing to do. And maybe even when you get in a band is kind of check out, maybe doing music it can be a way to even check out. But with what you do, you're not checking out. You're trying to spread a message, talk to people about it, and stay informed.
And doing a podcast, and in my head, I'm like, nobody gives a fuck about what I have to say. I don't really, I feel like I want to do it, but then I at the same time with a lot of things, like I want to be a sport and a team player and do whatever it takes. And whatever's necessary, especially for like a band, and you're in a band, like, cause even there's been times where like,
you're wrong.
Oh, we want to take a picture of your band. And I'm like, I don't want nobody to take my picture. You know what I'm saying? Like there was like a tattoo magazine that came to the studio and like, we want to take pictures of Tension's tattoos. And I was like, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do it, and then like, there was even like with the rap video, when we were doing the rap video, like that, like, oh, trying to get me to coach me to do some shit. I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the reason I did want to do this is because you guys are such good friends and it is comfortable conversation. I really don't talk to a whole lot of people.
Yeah,
we
know.
You know what I'm saying? And honestly, like I said, like I'll talk to all day to the people I love and care about, family, friends, and especially the type of friendships you make in the music scene, the Long Island, or the worldwide alternative, hardcore, punk rock music scene, because what we have is, worldwide, you go, oh, show this was so, it's so interesting about doing the reason you're motivating to do this stuff is that, like, the good time that we have and like what we have with the hardcore music and the energy that we have and the camaraderie and like, the unity at the shows, that like at the same time we can go to other states, play with the band, rock out. And then there's same pocket groups of people and the friendships you make over there or worldwide.
Dan
but,
from one,
exactly.
Dan with Saturday.
Yeah,
like your
exactly.
brother said that
all the time.
Like 30 years of like almost playing shows together.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's just like you go and you play as a kid, and that's why I think people want to hear from you because the music that you were a part of. Whatever you think, but it connects with people, and also even just like as a frontman, like you're a great frontman. You're a fucking like I can't think of a better hardcore singer on Long Island.
No, I mean
I can't.
And people grew up on your words, and I
don't even listen to hardcore.
Yeah, if people grew up on your words, people grew up on you, and what I can appreciate about you, knowing you all these years, you've always been like humble about it. I've never seen Mike, ever, it never like got to his head or, on a small level or a bigger level. And it always translated into your next bands. You had something to say. You had, I'm sure you could have been on 10 podcasts. It's just not something you want to do. And, you know, you said yes because of our friendships,
Yes.
you know, and that's like, yeah, that's perfect. That's Mike. You know, I wouldn't expect him to be like, yo, can I come on your podcast?
Yeah.
Like, people ask all the time, you know, we're like,
They
we
do.
said it in the interview we did with your brother.
Yeah.
We talked about you a bunch, you know, because there is sort of like this thing about you and what you bring to the table that people grew up on.
Yeah.
That people still, when you start a new band, they want to hear what you have to say. They want to see what you're doing, and they're fucking excited.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. You know, I just don't think about it that way. You know, I
I
kind
know.
of just kind of like rock out, and that's what it's honestly like. You know, my favorite thing about a band is, you know, getting out and getting away once a week, band practice, writing music. You know, you just kick back and, you know, rock out. You know, but of course, you know, doing the shows is the friendship and the brotherhoods that we've all made through the years. It's definitely very special. We were very fortunate kids. We had fortunate childhoods to be able to do what we did, and it was all in an age before there was social media or, you know, cell phones at the beginning too. You know, we had beepers and payphones, and we went in the Kinko's copies and clipped out ransom style flyers and pictures that we
had
handed out
Doc
at
was
the
our cell
school.
phone
Yeah.
camera.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
he was, you know, videotaping, like you said, in between stuff, not just the music, but like, you know, he caught glimpses. That was that stuff at None of the Above. Remember that
Yeah.
video?
Oh my
that just
God,
came
that
out?
video was
Who did that?
amazing.
Because Doc was in it, so I don't think he
I think
taped
Pete
it.
Motive was filming it. It
Pete
sounded
Motive,
like
okay.
Pete Motive's voice.
Oh yeah, there was like I'll send you the link. It was like a 10-minute thing, None of the Above, and it was just like, what's up?
I think Tom was in there before his long hair. I think it was Tom. Yeah, really young Tom. Pretty sure. I think that. Yeah.
It was just interesting because it was like an afternoon in the 90s, like hanging out at a record store.
Doc looked like a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so long ago. Doc
Doc
looked
was
like a
only
kid.
45.
Young man.
But, you know, I wanted to ask you too, like, since we started talking about Crime Pays,
Yeah.
where does the title come from? Where does the name come from?
Corruption at its finest.
Okay.
Title of the band? Or
Yeah, the
Crime
band.
Pays? Where does it come from?
Yeah.
Well, Matt, pretty sure.
I mean, it's a
Matt
phrase,
and Tommy,
but
yeah, Matt. And
why would you
Tommy,
name your
that was
band
them. It was their idea, and at first, I wasn't even like, I was not sure how I felt about it, and then, you know, he explained that, like, you know, we're not talking about Crime Pays, we're talking about, you know, like more like white collar, evil,
corruption,
you know, corruption, you know, the way, like, we live in New York, one of the most corrupt places in the world, you know, as far as local legislation and the red light cameras, you know, like it supports Stephen Ruth and all the stuff that he's doing with the red light camera, Robin Hood stuff.
Yeah,
like,
I saw him speak.
Yeah,
at a,
that's cool. No,
yeah.
he's cool. I met him too, actually, in Patchogue, and he's a cool dude, you know, but like, that's like, honestly, and that's why, like, you know, sometimes, like, you know, you don't want to, but you kind of have a negative outlook that, like, because like everything that we're doing, like they brainwash into asking for it, you know, like they manipulate the situations.
So I feel like we probably skipped over 1776, and it was such an important thing because it almost felt like this thing you've been talking about for years, this thing your brother's been talking about for years, you know, which is, you know, it feels obviously overtly political because it's 1776. It feels like the idea maybe is like getting back to that idea of freedom and liberty.
Yeah.
And so the question is, like, how did you come up with that? Like, the meanings behind all that stuff.
Okay, me, my brother, and Tim went to the Free Your Mind conference in Philly, and then we were visiting all the historical buildings.
Yeah.
And, you know, the similarities between, you know, what the founding fathers, you know, were going through, or the history that we're taught, at least, of the people who fought for their freedom in the face of tyranny, and that was inspiring. And I think we decided to call it 1776. We were at the Liberty Bell. It was a time that tension was broke up. And I think me and my brother were just saying that we wanted to jam again. It's been time. We hadn't jammed in a while. We wanted to write some new music with a liberty-minded message.
Yeah.
And we got Ronnie, who was the last drummer for Tension, and Hugo was drumming for Tension before that when we toured Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then we broke up for a while, and then we wanted to start jamming again. But I think we just wanted to do something different, you know, not Tension. And then, I think we just wanted to have a message, positive, like in the same light of tension, but more of a liberty-minded message instead of an apocalyptic-minded message.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's it felt like what you guys have been talking about for years. And like here it is. It wasn't like, oh, hey, we're in a band and we wrote a song about the thing we've been talking about. It's like from the name of the band to all of the songs to the way the band was on stage was like this culmination of all those years of the Rubino boys. Yeah.
Well, FT, Father Tension, raised us on apocalyptic theology. So, we kind of always felt like we knew that these end days were coming. And, I still feel like they're here, that this is just the beginning, but, we don't really know the timetable. Only God does, so you could, you just got to go on living your life, being as positive as you can, and, doing your best to get through every day and living your life the way you would until you can't anymore, but now, it seems like we're there. We're at the point where we're about to be at the point where, there's going to be a new normal, like similarly to how after 9/11, there was the new normal, the people were pliable enough to mold in a new way.
Yeah. Now, do you, like you mentioned God in there. Now, do you have like a personal religious belief, whether it's something you grew up on, something you have your own interpretation?
I think it's honestly just like a spiritual belief. I feel like organized religion just creates fanaticism and separation. There's no, I believe no mortal man really knows anything about what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. But, I feel like we all know deep down inside that like some bad shit is coming and, really, really can do only but, be as positive as you can and do your best to get through it all, overcome any odd and until you die, but fully at peace. And I feel like I'm okay with my maker, so I'm not really worried about it like that.
Yeah. And now, so, I mean, you hit the ground running with Crime Pays, and give us a sense of what you're going to be doing with that band in the near future.
Really just keep, rocking out, playing, I don't really expect nothing more than play some shows and, have a good time. But, while just a positive message of really drawing light on.
Something tells me you don't do the bookings. It's probably someone else in the band I got to ask those questions. I know a singer faking it when I hear it. Yeah.
Mike shows.
Yeah, I don't really, honestly, I don't, like I said, I don't really I don't really do what's absolutely necessary ever. So,
you're not booking the shows.
With Spotify's Apple Music and shit like that. So, like, what do you think of that as opposed to the way it used to be? I think every record, like even like 1776, once that came out, I think it was like Bandcamp time. And then from there, just, I feel like now we're at Spotify. Now streaming is like such a big thing where you can just text your whole fucking link to someone, and I feel like it's easier to just spread that way. What do you think? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Honestly, like I'm like so bad, like really, like honestly, like because I don't really like I barely use my phone. Like I use it for work and text the people I talk to, the 5 people. I don't know. I can't even. I don't use Spotify or I think I use iTunes. But
what do you listen to like when you're at home?
I use iTunes on my phone. I don't really. I don't really. No, I do. I listen to iTunes. I'm just saying I don't really know about that other stuff like Spotify.
Are you up on
Spotify or what is Bandcamp? You said like
yeah.
I just don't. I kind of like I listen to iTunes.
A pure artist. This guy.
I got to be honest. Yeah, that's how I want Mike Rubino to be. Wouldn't you be bummed out if he was like, this and that, and I know this and I do this and you? No. This makes sense to me.
Pure artist.
This is the way I want.
Yeah, I like I said, honestly, even like my phone, like I hate it. I really like I haven't. It sucks because it's like I have an iPhone, but I hate it, and it's like all phones are horrible. Like it's like every option out there is just horrible, but whatever, you gotta like participate in society in some level, unless you're living in the woods. But like it's getting harder to do that nowadays. Like just because they try not to let you and whatever.
So you haven't checked out any new bands, like anything new that you've been listening to?
Honestly, like I said, I listen to iTunes. Like I have like.
What do you listen to? Al Green or some shit?
No, iTunes. Like I said, I have iTunes like the Apple Music, I guess.
What's on the Mike Rubino playlist?
Let's see. Nems.
Oh shit, that Nems record is so good.
Gorilla Nems.
Hell yeah.
Heavy Metal Kings.
Okay, so basically my playlist too.
Yeah.
EPMD,
Cool.
Agents of Manslain.
Yeah.
That is your playlist.
That is my playlist.
There's Ramallah.
Is that my phone?
Ramallah. Yeah, this is your phone.
Oh shit, that's your phone.
Raekwon, you know. But I mean, like I said, it sucks because I have Apple Music because it's just I used to have an iPod, you know, and
I miss my
Yeah, I
iPod.
don't know.
yeah, exactly.
I had
you
that
know,
160
like
gig.
It was like, and that's the only thing, like that's like the only really like technology that like just to have the music is like the convenience of all your songs at your fingertips like that, you know. It was like that, like I'm all about that, but otherwise I don't really like, you know, it just the convenience of it.
Yeah.
What do the kids listen to?
Well, Noah likes the Ice Cold Killers, my son, and
That's Joe's
my
band.
daughter likes the typical like girl of her age stuff, I guess, like Billie Eilish, or she likes actually 21 Pilots.
Okay.
Yeah, it's typical radio shit,
Okay.
I guess, you know, like.
Is there anything musically that you haven't done that you want to do? Like any type of, you know, do you envision maybe like making a specific genre EP that you've never, you know, like an acoustic Mike Rubino record or something? Or
No, really. Like I like hardcore. I just kind of like, you know, I just like, you know, rocking out every now and then. Really, you know, like it's really, you know, and honestly more so because I don't really. I said I enjoy practice and writing music more than playing the shows. But what I enjoy about playing the shows is getting to see old family friends that you haven't seen in so long.
Yeah.
And, you know, to have that, you know, like going to shows to, like I said, keep hardcore there for, you know, our children.
Yeah.
When, you know, keep hardcore alive and, you know.
Right. And that, you know, that brings something out in you. You know, that practice and writing songs doesn't.
Yeah,
Once you've like hit the stage, you know, that draws out this other side of Mike that we all have known for years that you probably like don't plan on doing, and it just jumps out of your skin.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. I just kind of, it's like, it just kind of happens, you know.
Yeah.
But it's also like I said, you know, I've done since I was 14, so it's kind of like all I know. Honestly, like when it originally started, like they said we're gonna play together, like we're gonna play shows, but I was young and like there was actually a time where I like I didn't appreciate it, you know, like they would like chase me around the backyard at 14, like we got a show with the right track in, like I'd be like, fuck you guys, I hate you guys, I quit, I don't want to do this anymore. And it was like the overbearing older brother that would, you know, you got to do it and do it right. And, you know, like I said, I didn't appreciate it at one point in time, but I would do it and be like, oh, get him drunk and get him in the car. And then it'd be like, oh, whatever, do a show. But then it was like after the first time we broke up that like I would be going to shows and I would have that like urge to like, oh, I miss playing shows, you know?
Yeah.
And then there was that time where, you know, we did the rap group.
Yeah.
And then Pit Fight was after that, and then Tension got back together for a reunion, and I think we wrote another CD. Yeah, broke up again, and it's kind of always, now that we broke up, we just stopped playing because of other things, and then, you know, we kind of play when we want to, you know. Like, if it fits, it's always, everything is just like, you know, whatever works, you know.
Yeah.
Last?
Yeah, I think we'll do
What we always ask?
Yeah.
I'm gonna. This will be our last show together.
This is our last show together.
I know.
Yeah. Should we say it at the same time? You could do it, Sam.
I'll cry tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the name of the podcast is If I Rule the World, and we ask all our guests.
Yes.
You know, today we ask you, Mike Rubino,
Yes.
if you ruled the world, what would that look like?
Peace in the Middle East.
that was
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. First time we heard that, but I like it because you know, we should concentrate there too.
Short and sweet.
So
Yeah. That's it. I don't know. If I ruled the world,
It's a tough one.
Yeah, man. Yo, thank you so much for doing
Thanks,
it.
Mike.
Everyone check out Crime Pays. We'll put links to...
Yeah. We'll put links to all your stuff. And, you know, you're one of those people I don't get to talk to all the time, that we don't always get to see, but it's always like when we do, it's like, you know, no time has passed. So I know you don't always like to do these types of things, so we really appreciate you doing it for us.
Yeah.
And we thank you, Tim.
Well, that's like...
Thanks, Tim. Enjoy.
Like I said, I really wouldn't have normally wanted to do it, but because of, you know, our friendship and we get along so well, and, you know, talking to you the other night on the phone. Plus, I wanted to be a sport for the band because, you know.
Yeah, they appreciate it too.
Yeah. Shout out to Tom. Cool
stuff,
dude.
To promote our stuff. Sorry, you gotta edit that out, you know.
Yeah, of course. All right, man. Peace.
If I rule the world, I love 'em, baby.